Hello everyone, welcome on my channel. Here is MC, continuing my quest to catch up on the 31 Days of Tarot challenge set up by Ethony. Today I'm gonna record my answers for question 16, 17 and 18. Actually, question 16 and 18 will be merged into one, and you will see why, because the question is, what tarot card in the deck do you look out for the most when you get a new deck? If you don't like that card, does it ruin the deck for you? The cards which I look for the most in a deck are actually the answer to the question 18, which is what cards relate to you personally, not just your astrology association or court cards. So the cards which I look forward the most in the deck are the ones which I can relate to the most also. So I choose to use the Steampunk Tarot to go through the cards which I look forward the most in the new deck. And yeah, I always check most of the cards. I Google them before buying a deck, so I have a pretty good idea when the deck arrives. Because I got disappointed so many times, so now I'm not buying a deck unless I know that most of the images are to my liking. So this is the Steampunk Tarot. So there is the Hermit. I love this card for different reasons. The Hermit remembers me of my dad. My dad was someone spending most of his time at home reading books and watching documentaries. And he was like the guru of his community of friends. They were all coming to him for advice, and he was spending most of his days in silence. And okay, I don't say he was a saint, not at all, but every time I see the Hermit or the Hierophant, I think of my dad. And there is something calming about the Hermits. Like I said, it's the shaman, it's the sage. There's tranquility. This being is in communion with the universe on a daily basis, on every minute of his life. He is in his world, in his silence, accessing the wisdom of the universe and transmitting it to people who need answers in a way. So yeah, and I can relate to the Hermit because I feel pretty much like a hermit by myself. It's hard for me to spend time with people. I'd rather spend an evening at home than going out in a loud place. And yeah, I'm a I'm a loner, and I feel pretty much like the hermit most of the time. I like to be in my home with my cat, my husband, and have good food and be comfortable. And I work at home also, and it takes me really long to get back to balance if I'm surrounded by people. I'm extremely sensible to the energy of people. It's a bit like if I have no protection. I'm extremely empathic. So spending time with people for me is really always, most of the time, a challenge. I end up more tired. I get confused, and it can take me hours or days, depending on the people's intensity, to fall back on my own energy and be grounded again. So because of this, I end up spending a lot of time alone, and I have the feeling that my best friend is the universe. I spend more time in meditation or working with the tarot or with my crystals. I find a lot of meaning there, and so yeah, that's it. That's the Hermit card. That's one of my favorite from the deck. The Hierophant, as I said earlier also remembers me of the guru, the person who has knowledge and who can teach and share wisdom. And it's funny because the Hierophant is my card of the year. I was saying in a previous video that this card was stalking me last year. So I picked up this last full moon. I picked up my year card, the card which has meaning for me in 2019, and it's the Hierophant. So this also one of my favorite in every decks. And the Fool, because I feel pretty much like the Fool, open to possibility, childlike innocence, and seeing the best in everything, and wanting to explore the world, feeling young at heart and full of energy, and yeah, the starting a new day every day. I love this card. I love the Fool. There's so much possibility, so much expansion, which we lose, I think, if we don't take care. We become more and more contracted, and we forget the expansive state which we came here in before before life happened. And strangely, I like this card also, the Five of Pentacles. I don't know, it remembers me of my childhood, and it was a really difficult childhood. I was not a happy kid, and I felt extremely lonely. My parents were physically available, but emotionally not. And I think I had too many things going on in my head from a really young age. And so when I see this card, I think of how I felt as a kid: lonely, cold, lost, and without clear directions, and no guide. And I like this card because here we are told that there is divine help coming. They're not alone. They will be guided by the universe. They will be taken care of. And that's exactly how I felt my whole life, that even in harsh situations, there was always someone looking over me. Then this card, the Nine of Pentacles, that's me also. Entrepreneur, and I really want to build my own thing, buy my own house, have the life that I want, create the life that I want, calm on the countryside in a nice climate with my animals, my garden, and just have a bit more than what I need, and being content with that, being not lonely but independent. Yeah. And then there is a couple of cards from the Swords suit. It's not that I like this suit, but I'm so related to it. I'm the Queen of Swords. Not that I want it. But yeah, I cannot deny it, that the Swords suit represent me a lot. And so I always look forward to see this suit in a deck. What I like the most when I buy a new deck is to see how artist or illustrator represent the different energy of each card of the tarot, and how much energy can come through when you flip a card. It's so amazing sometimes. Like I said in a previous video, you flip a card sometime and you can feel the wind. you can smell the mud. You can some illustrators, some artists are so good at catching the essence of the cards. But of course it depends on the reader as well. We don't resonate all to the same kind of artwork. I will move on with question 17. So these were my answer to question 16 and 18. Question 17. Sorry. What is your favorite way to tarot journal? Planners, apps, bullet journal. I don't use apps. I don't like apps. I don't like tarot apps. I don't trust. I don't know why. What I really like to do now is, so I have a binder, and what I do when I do a reading is I take a picture. Okay, I print my cards, my spread. But first, when I do my reading, the first thing I do is to write down everything, what comes up intuitively, and then I do research in my books. So I write all this down in 1 or 2 sheet. I really take the time to go through all the possible meanings and my first impressions, and then I let that sit for a day or two, and then I come back with my print, and then on my print I write down the core meaning of the spread. It's like if with my first draft I get a bit confused, and it's hard for me when I do a spread to right away be clear about what's the meaning and what's the situation and who's represented. So I write everything down, I sleep on it for a day or two, and then when I come back to it, it's really clear usually. Like I can really go to the core. Okay, now I get it. It's this and that. And so I do this for readings for myself, because it's really hard for me to be objective when it's my own readings. For other people, it's much easier. I can go on with the reading and go to my interpretation right away. But for myself, I really need to go through this process, which is a lot of research first, and then what I call the wrap-up sheet, basically. So when I want to go back, sorry, in time and check a reading, which I did, so I have the wrap-up page, which guide me. I don't need to go through all my rambling and this is more like study material and raw stuff which comes out. So I do this for all my cards. So for example, this was my main energy for this year, and then main lesson, so I will go through that. My card of the year, I need to do that. So that's my way to do my tarot journal. I think for me it works pretty well that way. Yeah, so looking forward to watch your videos, and thanks for watching. I will see you for question 20. Thanks, bye bye.